Hey there, I want to talk to you about my workshop called Overcoming Racism. And I always have trouble deciding whether I'm going to call it a workshop, an experience, or a class or a seminar. So let me just explain what it is. You can decide what you want to call it. I teach it over the course of over the course of 3 days. It's about 4.5 to 5 hours long at this point. It changes every time I teach it. So if you're watching this video and it's changed again, I apologize. But it's typically it's 3 days, about an hour and a half each time. It's interactive. It's multimedia. I have videos I show, and I keep the classes small purposely so that you can get to know the other participants in the class and you can feel comfortable participating. I do encourage participating. That's how people learn the most. So, what is it? The objectives are to help you understand what race and racism are, to help you feel more comfortable in having those conversations with other people, to understand the history of how we got to where we are today, and finally to figure out what we can do going forward. So in order to accomplish those objectives, my agenda basically is I talk about myself first of all. I'm a almost 60-year-old Black man as of the time I'm recording this. I was born in 1961 in Columbus, Ohio. So I grew up during the Civil Rights era. And so I don't remember much about it, but I kind of remember some of the feelings about that. And I talk about what it's like being a Black person in America from my earliest experience of knowing I was Black when I was 3 years old and having that conversation with my mother. I take you through then right up to the present day as to what my experience has been like and what my experience is like. I will talk about Black history. I will actually go over an overview of Black history from 1619 when Africans were first brought here and enslaved to the present day. And we go over that, pretty quickly. Then we go back, go over it in detail, and you can get a better understanding for why we are where we are today when you understand where we came from. So that Black history is actually very important. We'll talk about what race is. Is there such thing as race? Are there any real differences between Black people and white people and any other races? We'll talk about what racism is. And we'll talk about where did racism come from? Why does racism exist? Why was it invented? Why is it persistent? Why is it still here with us to this day? We'll talk about the origins of it, and you might be surprised when it originated. We'll talk about the Black experience. I go into great depth to try to help people understand what it feels like to be Black in America, to understand the day-to-day experience of being Black. And so we do a series of videos and conversations to cover that experience. We'll talk about the white experience. And you might think, if you're a white person watching this, I have a pretty good idea of the white experience, but we'll talk about how racism impacts white people in ways that are both conscious and subconscious. And we all carry implicit bias in us because of the way that we've been indoctrinated into our culture. That includes Black people and white people. And you may be surprised by some of those things. I will answer tough questions. These are questions that I've gotten before and questions you can ask yourself. Like, why do Black people have twice the poverty rate of white people, for example? Why do Black people have a tenth of the net worth of white people? There are reasons for these things. Why do we live in such segregated society and segregated neighborhoods? There are actually reasons for these things, and we'll talk about what the reasons are to help you understand, what those things are, so you can feel more comfortable discussing them and understand that some of the simplistic answers you've been given before may not be true. And then to talk about the problems is one thing. We want to talk about what can we do? What can we do going forward? We'll talk about a term that's been coined pretty recently called anti-racist. We'll talk about how you can become an anti-racist, how you can advocate on behalf of people of color if you're not a person of color. And if you're a person of color, how you can explain to other people what it's like to be a person of color in ways that they might be able to understand. So that's a really quick overview of a pretty in-depth course or pretty in-depth experience. If you have any questions, look down below or click on the link below to go to my website if you're not on the website. If you're on the website, just look down below and you can find answers to a lot of your questions. There are testimonials. There's a testimonial from Kim Marie, who was someone who took my course. I think it's pretty representative of the way people come out of it. They come out of it, frankly, oftentimes people feel really changed. They feel like they really had an experience that helped them to open their eyes up. So take a look at those testimonials. I hope to see you in the course and have a great day.